Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet, and on today's episode, I got with us Marc Fucarile. So, Marc, can you explain to the audience a little bit of who you are?
Yeah. Um, so my name's Marc Fucarile from Boston, Mass, right outside the city. I'm a Boston Marathon bombing survivor. A right leg above the knee amputee, salvaged left limb, half metal with all the shrapnel in my body. I got it even in my heart. It's lodged in the right atrium. So yeah, that's who I am. You know,
And I mean, I've seen, a lot of the stuff and everything. It's really hard sometimes on ones like this. How many marathons? Was this your first marathon? I mean, to get into the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify, but what was your journey up to that?
yeah. So all 17 amputees from that day were spectators. So I was there supporting a friend of mine who I went to high school with. He graduated a couple years behind me, but we all hung out. We worked together. He went into the Marines right after high school, and many, so he was in for many years, and he had retired. Got his walking papers on a Friday. Stole a bib or something was fishy with how he got into the marathon, and he got a bib somehow, and he's running the Boston Marathon. And my buddy called me and said, "Hey, on Sunday night before the marathon," he said, "Come in and come into Boston with us to the marathon on Monday." And I said, "Nah, I'm good." I said, "I've been working. I just finished these real estate classes the last couple weekends." I said, "I haven't had a day off, man, in 21 days." I said, I'm taking it easy. I'm gonna hang out with my son." And I had a 5-year-old boy at the time, and he's like, "Mike J's running, dude." I said, "Oh, you had to pull the card where, he's a buddy of ours, he's a Marine, you know, I'm like, of course I'll go in and I'll support him. So let's do it.
Mhm.
So Monday comes, the next day it comes, and we meet up at my buddy's house and we head into Boston. And the rest is pretty much history. We were at the second bomb in front of the Forum restaurant.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I mean, if you want to go into it, we can talk about what happened that day. I mean, I know pretty much most of the listeners have probably, seen the coverage, heard about it. I mean, and for you, I mean, it's up to you how much you want to go into stuff and talk about it. I don't want to, force you to talk about anything you don't want to talk about, but
Yeah, no, I'm pretty open, and I'm blessed. I'm lucky to be alive. I've had amazing support from complete strangers across the world. I'm in a good spot, good place. I can look at pictures, look at video. I've watched the video of it happen, the surveillance camera through the FBI's, iPad,
mhm.
when I was in ICU. Because they were questioning me, like who everybody was, because me and the bomber had an exchange of words, because he bumped me, and I said, "Don't bump me." And they asked me what I was saying to this individual, who he was to me, and I'm like, "I don't know him. He bumped me. He pushed me. I told him to stop pushing me." Um, so yeah, no, I get into everything. It's been a long road for me. It was 3.5 years in and out of hospitals, recovery. I lived at Walter Reed Medical Facility from 2015 to 2016, so they could do a whole bunch of revision surgeries on both legs. I had to go through their physical therapy rehabilitation, which was amazing, challenging, but made me the person I am today and how strong I became from that. Um, yeah, accomplished different marathons we could talk about. I
Oh
am the
yeah.
founder of the Mark Network. It's a free app. I have a remarkable foundation. It's a nonprofit organization I just launched this year, as well as the Mark Network. So yeah, whatever you want to get into, you fire away.
I mean,
I'm not shy I'm not
I
shy with it.
it's one of those things. I mean, the bombing's horrible. I mean, most people know about that. I for one want to know more about your journey afterwards. Like you mentioned, all the foundations and stuff, which by the way, after we're done, send me an email with a list of all those, the links, and we'll make sure we put them into the notes so everyone can get to them and find them. So for anybody who's looking for those, they will be in the notes afterwards, once we post this. So I want to know about the journey afterwards. I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, we all know what happened that day. I mean, it was a horrible day. Um, I remember it because I hadn't done a marathon yet, and that was one of the things I've always wanted to do. And then later, when you're thinking about doing other ones, like I want to go do a marathon, and you're like, oh, and you have those thoughts. And I mean, the Spartan races, everything I've done, and the huge crowds, and you're just like, oh, but I mean, it's one of those things. We still want to be able to go out there and do the things we love doing. So, um, yeah. So once it happened, I know you had a lot of medical stuff. You lost your right knee above the knee.
Yeah, my right leg above the knee, and then
Yeah.
part of my left leg, and it was all blasted apart inside my foot. Um, so yeah, it was quite. It was tough. I woke up 35 years old in a hospital room, uh, you know, and missing my right leg and going through surgery every other day, and fighting to keep my left leg. And the burns, like 80% of my lower half of my body's burnt. They skinned me on the back and used the skin off my back to, fix all the skin grafts on my left leg and part of my right leg, what was left of my right leg. So yeah, it was a journey. I did, you know, 45 days in ICU, and then I just did. After that, I did 55 days in Spalding rehab, with going back and forth from hospital to rehab, having surgery. And then I spent the rest of 2013 in and out of surgeries, until 2014, where I started traveling to see other doctors in other states to try to get second opinions, to try to get stuff worked out. And then finally, Walter Reed, a physical and occupational therapist from Walter Reed, and two of the other Boston Marathon bombing survivors, Jessica and Patrick, uh, advocated for me through their doctors that I should be down there getting treated because of the severity of my left limb and in the situation with it. And also my right leg, the stump, was really not in great shape. It wasn't
Yeah.
really, it was the best that they could do. Um, so they advocated for me and they got me in there. And then that was the recovery part. But during that time, I started getting involved with a lot of different veteran organizations and other nonprofit organizations like Team Achilles. And that's what started me on hand cycling, half marathons with not just combat wounded veterans, but wounded veterans. And that's what got me into, a lot of, my races and my different physical challenging activities, let's say the least.
All
I've
right.
done quite a
Which I mean
few.
is amazing to see that. I mean, I love seeing that. I mean, I don't know if you've More Hot Than Scars is the poster that's up behind me. We've done races with people in wheelchairs and Spartan races
Yep.
and World's Toughest and stuff like that. So if you ever want to,
Yeah.
these are the guys that'll get you through an OCR.
Yeah, no nubs. So me and
Yep.
Zach have had conversations, and we're
I love
looking at
Zach.
trying to do one in November, I think it is, or maybe it's October. I got to check the calendar when he's talking about trying to do one with me and him with the couch thing. And
Oh yeah.
so I just did a Spartan race in Austin, Texas this year, just over the summer with Earl Granville.
Nice.
Me and him have been, me and him actually finished Boston Marathon across the finish line at the same time. Well, he had a broken hand. He did a hand cycle, and I was hand cycling with him, and we did Boston. So I've done Boston 3 times on a hand cycle. I've done New York Marathon twice on a hand cycle. I've done LA. I also did Detroit, and then I also did the Marine Corps Marathon with Achilles. Uh, and
That's
so
awesome.
it's all been fun. And I got out to ski spectacular, and when my son in 2013, right after the bombing, we got blown up in April. So that year in December, I got invited to go to ski spectacular out in Breckenridge, Colorado. And I found out that I could ski. Like, I never thought I'd be able to ski with my son. And here he is, 6 years old, because he turned 6 in September. I was now 36 because of September, and it was December,
Hmm.
first week in December, last week in November, first week of December. We're out in Breckenridge, Colorado, skiing together. And I'm like, this is crazy. And going down that hill was the first time I felt like I had 2 legs again. And the freedom that it provided for me, I was hooked. And then me and my son, we continue to ski still to this day, 11 years later.
And that's awesome. And I mean, that's one of the things that I've seen from a lot of people who've been in situations like this where their first thing to think is your life's over. I'm done. It's like I, you know, you have no leg. on one side. You have all this and people have that thought of my life is over. But then I've talked to so many of these athletes that are like, you have that thought right at the beginning. And then you start thinking, how can I still do this stuff?
You got to
And
adapt.
that's where that that mind, and that mind over matter starts coming in. It's like, okay, it's not going to be, my life is different, but it's not over.
So what you're saying is everybody, and I mean everybody I've talked to, everybody, my family, my sister said, "What are we gonna do? He's gonna be living on my couch for the rest of his life. Like I'm gonna have to take care of my brother." That's what my sister thought, And I mentor people with missing limbs and limb differences. I go visit. I just visited a young girl that's 11 years old, spinal cord injury, and Spalding rehab through gymnastics, broke her spine, and they don't know what the outcome's going to be yet. She's recovering. So
Mhm.
I visit spinal cord injuries, amputations, people, MS, Parkinson's, that just get that new diagnosis, and I talk to them, and I just try to give them hope because um, everybody I talk to, that's their thought. I'm alone. I'm by myself. I can't do anything. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. They don't have these answers. And that's what led me to create the Marc Network, the Mobility Awareness Resource Community. And all that really is it's a free app to download in Apple and Google, create a profile. And truly what it is a positive and supportive community for people facing similar challenges, no matter what it is, physical, mental, Parkinson's, MS, spinal cord amputations, divorce, anything, just to engage with others going through those same challenges and support each other, provide resources, provide information, provide technology that's out there and available for people to show them an inspiration as well to say, hey, just because you lost your leg or in a wheelchair doesn't mean you can't go out and do a mad mutter or do a Spartan race.
Yeah.
That's why I created it, because literally what you just said, everybody you talk to, and then we learn over time that we're so capable of doing so much, but you lose that time and you waste that time with worries that you shouldn't have to. Because if you opened up an app and you saw all your possibilities all in one location with events, technology, other people doing stuff, your mindset would change from a negative to a positive earlier. And that's what my app is. When I'm working on creating my app, I just launched it. We only got like a little over 600 and something users. I'm just starting to put a campaign. We're fundraising in the sense of we're looking for financial investors. It's a huge market out there. It's ginormous. And I know how to capture it. And my app is so unlimited capabilities and possibilities within it. Geo map locations, advertisement, sponsorships. It's a big market, and it's a great investment opportunity for people. So if anybody's listening, reach out.
Yeah. Well, and anything we can help on BeastNet, because I mean that's one thing that I've been, dealing with more heart than scars and everything like that is to help people that, and I think that one of the biggest things was when they started saying the words adaptive athlete. And that's the biggest thing. It's adaptive, and like we just said, your life's not over, it's just different. Now, how are you gonna make that work for you? It's one of the biggest things. Like I said, I've heard multiple people that I've talked to that had issues, something happened or been born a certain way or whatever, and they just have that they're have adaptive. They have to adapt to be able to do it, which
Yeah.
we all do in some way. It's just at what level.
Yep. Like you said, people born. My wife, Nicole Browder, she's born with no arms and no legs. She graduated Texas A&M. Like, she got through it. She did it. She adapted. She figured it out. And it's so crazy how, you hit it right on the nail on the head. I was at Radio Row in Las Vegas in February for Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and we were just bringing awareness. Asking people, "Hey, how have you overcome challenges that you faced in a professional or just regular life, in your career?" And they were like, "Oh, okay," and it was crazy to hear people like, their toughest thing that they've had to overcome was the divorce of their mom and dad, during their college career and or at high school, and then their sister, it still affects it. Like it was wild to hear these NFL football players talks about some of the stuff that they felt was like the big obstacle in their life. It was amazing. But I was speaking to a gentleman, and I handed him a flyer that had like the Marc Network, join the conversation. And then on the back, it had a little rundown: Marc Fucarile, Boston Marathon bombing survivor, this, and this. Gave me a list of stuff that I've done and I'm doing. And he goes, "You were at the marathon?" He goes, "Man, I used to be a marathon runner." He was like, "But I don't know more." He goes, "I got bad knees." And I looked at him. I go, "You got bad knees?" Right? And I said, "Why?" I said, "Have you ever thought about doing it on a hand cycle?" He goes, "No, I didn't even think of that." I'm like, "You still can do marathons. You just got to adapt and do it differently." And he said, "You know what? I'm going to look into that. That would be interesting to do a marathon on a hand cycle." I said, "You should." I said, "You still can be out there doing things, but we limit ourselves by our minds, right? Because you just think you need to run a marathon. You've never thought
Mhm.
outside that box." And he said, "I'm going to look into it." So I hope he does, man, just for his sake, because it still allows you to participate. It still allows you to get out there, be healthy, get active.
It does. I mean, that's one thing. Like, I think you hit on the head there, where you're like, people get stuck into a box, and I think that's one of the things that where I've kind of changed a little bit of my thinking is by talking to people, like you and others that have been forced, in a sense, to think outside the box, because all of a sudden you don't have the option to do it this way. You have to, if you want to do this, you have to adapt and do it another way. So it's kind of like, you see those other things outside the box, like, oh, hey, I don't have to do it this way. I can do it this way.
Yep. And then it takes a team, right? I mean,
Hmm.
like you guys with More Heart Than Scars, you guys assist and help people with different disabilities. Like we rely on a lot of people. We rely on a team. We rely on people to help
Hmm.
us. And it takes people like you that volunteer and people like Nubs, you know. So
Oh yeah, and Zach. I mean, Zach's been on the show a bunch of times. I love Zach. Zach's a great guy. He has the biggest heart. He's so amazing. So, I've done a couple of races with Zach. So, and he's great. But Joey's another one. If you haven't met Joey yet, Joey's the other half of that that's pretty much out there running all the races, and he's high energy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's great. I mean, that's what it takes. It takes a community, right? It takes people. And
Hmm.
that's why I built a community, because in my time, that I learned more in 15 minutes of speaking with a another amputee. You know what I mean? Than I did in and out of the hospitals. Sorry. Um, I just have a lot of noise going on in the back here. Sorry. It's
That's
coming
okay.
into my headphones. I don't know if you can hear it. Um, but yeah, it's that's why the community means
Yeah.
so much, and it's in everything. And if people forget that support, I mean, we all need to support one another, right? We never know what each other's going through,
No.
and the truth is that's how I got to where I am today, right? I mean, I'm laying in the hospital and these gifts are coming in, like knitted scarves, knitted hats, like little letters of inspiration and prayers and notes from kids from all different age groups. And it just really moved me to help. I mean, and to get out, right? To get out and start moving and not to let these people down that are pushing me. And that support drove me to A, get better, and B, like to not give up. And that's what you guys I know do, and supply, and those, all those guys you mentioned. And that's just it's just what it takes. It's what it takes to make everything happen as a community. And that's why I created the Mark Network, the
Which,
community.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to like look into that. For me, like I'm a safety professional in my real life. I work, I have a degree in safety, all that stuff, and I've done construction safety for years. Um, it was amazing to me. I had an ex-boss named Mandy Kime who works for the AGC of Washington. She got me involved into like speaking, and I've spoken at the governor's like conference on suicide prevention, like construction stuff like that. And I really started looking into that and researching how alone people feel, and that's the biggest thing. And I mean, that's one thing. I mean, some people know, some people don't. I've been there. I have been there, pretty much seconds away from taking my own life. And it was because I had that feeling that there was nobody else out there, you know. And I think that's one of the biggest things, with your network that's great is because a lot of people that have been through a trauma, whether it be, mental, physical, whatever, some kind of trauma, we all feel like we're alone, we're all by ourselves, and nobody can help us, and there's nobody we can talk to because you go and talk to a doctor or whatever, and they're like, oh, and it's clinical. It's very clinical and whatever, but until you talk to someone who's been through it,
Yep.
and knows what you're talking about. Like you mentioned a minute ago, where it took you 15 minutes talking to another amputee to understand because you're talking to someone who's been there and done that.
I've learned, right? Like that. You learn all that valuable information that they've experienced. And again, that's why I created it. And I mean, it's for everything if you think about it, mental health, physical health, like you said, suicide, it's just support. You go to Instagram, you go to Facebook, you go to Twitter, it's all rude, crazy individuals, like, talk about this, fighting and arguing politics, sexual preference, all that, transgender, like, and everybody's fighting. It's like, on my app, once you join and you create a profile, you are agreeing to be a positive and supportive member of the community. So my grandmother always says, you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And the freedom what you have isn't the freedom of speech, it's the freedom to scroll by. You don't have to engage with someone that you don't agree with. That is an action we choose. Okay, that's a choice, right? So there are other platforms in the universe, tons of them, that you can engage with those individuals, and you can do it on that platform. If I was the only social media platform and I said, oh, nope, I'm not allowing that, then that's a freedom of speech thing. That's a whole different argument. That's, but I'm not the only one. This is a public private group. Like, this is the private group that you're joining. You're agreeing to my terms and conditions. And if you don't like it, go to another platform or create your own. You have that will, and you have that option in America here to create your own app, just like I did. I wrote the check. I put the time in, and we're just
which is
launching.
amazing.
And I love, like, when you refer and you talk to, because we self-medicate, right? For years, people self-medicate, which comes alcohol, drug addiction, so, and then there's that mental health part, right? Like, I mean, you gotta imagine, right? I woke up, I had to have some trauma, mentally, I mean, I know I had a brain injury, but like my son suffered from some PTSD from it. Hold on one second. Onyx, stop it. Sorry. My dogs are barking. I got alert dogs, I got surveillance cameras. I mean, I've had one or two death threats because of the Boston Marathon bombing. I testified. So I have a few security systems. I got 3 standard poodles and some cameras and a lot of other things.
We gotta protect ourselves as much as we can.
Yeah. Oh, we're protected.
Yeah.
So I like I said, man, I've been blessed by so much support, and I want all advocates of any form, of any kind. If you're an advocate for mental health, if you're an advocate for, suicide prevention, get on there and just share the information, be positive, be supportive, be an advocate on the platform, right? And let's just build a positive and supportive community, because I literally I'm a survivor due to support and due to a community of people that gathered around me and helped me. And I'm like, this just needs to be in every hospital room across this country. This needs to be in every house across this country, across this world, because it's a global app. So it's called marknetwork.world is the website, right? So it's world, it's global. And, when I leave Boston and I travel to Texas, well, like, I'm going to Arizona on Thursday. So today's Tuesday, and I'm going to Arizona. I leave my whole community behind. My prosthetist, my wheelchair provider, my doctors, my physical and occupational therapist, right? Maybe mental health. Now I'm in Arizona, Phoenix. What do I do if something goes wrong with any one of my devices? So the app also allows you to connect with people in other locations and communicate and become and develop that friendship. And the whole backside's all supports that. So this is, like more heart than scars. I mean, you guys are a community, right? You guys help people. And it's just, in Spartan races, man. I mean, all these races that you guys do, it takes a community to get there. Like, if I didn't have my support team with me, with Earl's people, man, I would have been dead.
Like I said, if you ever want to reach out to Nubs or Joey or me or whatever, we'll get you on a race. And if you're ever in Houston, message me. We can go out to lunch. That's where I live.
I was just there. I just did the Abilities Expo in Houston, man. My bad.
Nice. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'm down here in Houston. I'm in fact, I'm gonna do with I don't know, Dirty D, who's a little person. I'm doing the half marathon with her in January, I believe. So here in
Wow.
Houston. So yeah, so that'll be fun.
At least it's
But
January and it's not 107 and
yeah,
like 99% humidity.
what's funny is I told her when I moved from here from Washington a year ago. In fact, tomorrow will be I think a year since I moved um, to Houston from Seattle, Washington, and it's just so funny. It's like races in Seattle are like June to August or June to September. That's pretty much it because that's the only time the weather's cooperates.
Cooperates.
In Houston, it's the complete opposite, where it's from September to June because from June to August, it's too hot to do anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, I love it here, so I do love it. Um, I mean, your app sounds amazing, everything like that. I love the idea that it's the positivity thing because that's one thing a lot of people forget about is freedom of speech gives you the freedom to say what you want, but not the freedom from the consequences. And that's one thing I do comedy and stuff like that. And there's so many times people are like, oh, they're censoring me at that club. No, that club has a free, you have freedom of speech to say whatever you want at that club. But if that club has rules and you break them, then it's not censorship. It's basically their house, their rules. And that's what it is. It's your app, your rules. So
Yeah,
nice.
you can open your own comedy show and do it on anywhere
Yeah.
else you want to do it. And
Yeah.
I get it. And I get the freedom of speech thing. And if you're in,
Oh, I do too.
and I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a supporter of freedom of speech.
Mhm.
I get it. But again, what you said there, there's consequences.
Yeah.
Regardless if they're right or wrong consequences, there's always a consequence for everything you do and everything you say. In this
There
country,
are
we're kind of
consequences.
losing that consequence part, but we'll get back there because, I feel, there's consequences for everybody's actions, regardless if your actions are correct. My brother's
Yeah.
a police officer and he could arrest somebody that just broke the law. And then when, in the state of Massachusetts, they released him on zero bail within 24 hours. The consequence is that guy could come back to my brother's house because he lives in the same town he works in, and people know that. So they could show up at his door and there could be a consequence for that, even though my brother was in the right for arresting him for breaking the law. So, I mean, it goes
It
for
goes both
everything.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I almost paid the consequence doing that Spartan race with Earl. Whew, I got, I got, I'm out of shape. that woke me up doing that race with Earl.
Well,
That was a
like I said,
tough
if you
one.
want to do another one, come on out.
Oh, I will.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know how it is. Once it's in your blood,
Hmm.
it's like a tattoo, right? You get one, you get two, and you get three, you get four, and then you're like, I better stop because if I don't stop, I'm gonna be covered. And that's the marathons. I never thought I'd do a marathon. There was a gentleman named Bill McCabe. He ran 100 marathons in my honor. So he said, "Can I raise money for you? I'm going to do a marathon for every day you were in the hospital." I said, "That was 100 days." So he ran 2,600 miles for me in my honor. He did it like in a short window. He's like 60 something years old. He does those ghost runs and 100-mile ghost runs. He does a 24-hour runs. He's done 100-mile marathons. He did the challenge. He did the 7 marathons, 7 continents.
I've seen that one. I want to do that one so bad.
This guy did it.
Yeah.
He's like 60 something years old. I'm like, you're crazy. So after witnessing him do this, right? I said, and he asked me, he's like, "I'd love to do a marathon with you." And I was like, you know what? If you can do 100, I can do one. Right.
Hmm. Yep.
So I got together with the Achilles. I called him up and I said, "You guys offered us to do marathons." And I said, "You know what? I'm picking you up on that offer because this guy does 100 marathons. I'll do one." I go, "You got to do the half marathon first. You got to do that down Disney. So that'll determine whether you can do a marathon or not with us. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're
Yeah.
in shape or healthy enough or okay." So I did, and the only marathon I wanted to do was Boston. So I did the half marathon at Disney, because every year, like the first couple of years, I couldn't do the Boston Marathon because I was having surgery,
Yeah.
right? So I was out. They wouldn't let me participate because I was still recovering. So it took a couple of years. I think it was 2017. I got to do my first Boston Marathon, and I did 17 and 18. Like that could be, yeah, that's what I did. Is 17. I did 17 and 18. So, but I did a couple. I did 2 half marathons at Disney first, and then of course everybody kidnapped me. Like, dude, you're gonna do New York with us. Then you're gonna do LA. You're gonna do Chicago. You're going to do Detroit. I didn't do Chicago though. I couldn't do Chicago because I wasn't a combat wounded veteran. They wouldn't let me do it on a hand cycle. So you had to be. They have restrictions, which I'm okay with. So I did the Detroit. Like I said, I did New York twice. I did the Marine Corps, and I did L.A. And Team Achilles, they just lashed you in, like you said. You do one, and then they get you, and then
Yeah.
So that's what it did. I said I'm going to do one. I ended up doing 8 full, well, 5 half marathons, and a whole bunch of 10Ks and 5Ks. So I've done one Spartan, and you know what that means. That means you're
Means
going
you're
to be
gonna do
doing more.
more. I say
And
you
then
got to do more. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, like I said, if you ever want to do one, let us know. More Health and Scars will help you out. Um, or a
I would,
Tough Mudder.
yeah. So I partnered with them, Dan,
Hmm?
and Joe. So
And Dan will make us help you know.
yeah, yeah.
We'll do it
So
anyway, but
with my remarkable foundation, they said, with a certain amount of donation to your organization, you can give away free bibs. So and you can do anybody that donates a significant amount of money to the Remarkable Foundation, you're able to give them free bibs, and we'll
mhm.
give you a link. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And he's like, and if you ever want to do one, and I don't have a team like you guys, right? I don't have that support
Yeah, you do.
system
You have
that,
us.
well, I do now. Yeah. But at
Yeah.
the time, So, but that's what it takes. Like, I can't just go out there. Like, I need
Yeah.
people like you in organizations. So I appreciate that offer. And,
Like I said,
I'm going to be doing one with you probably sooner than later.
oh yeah, I can't wait to meet you. I think it'll be a blast. So I mean, because there's also they do because I know mainly More Health and Scars has done Spartan, Tough Mudder. They've been doing I think there's a couple other ones they've been looking at, and I knew USA OCR, the Paralympic for USA OCR is coming up in October, and there's a lot of stuff coming up for Paralympics and stuff like that. So
Yeah. This year, me and Nubs have been trying to get on the same calendar. And I'm hoping my calendar is until January of next year. Even I'm
hmm
already booking out past February.
wow,
Um, yeah, it's crazy. Indianapolis Marathon maybe on the 9th. The Florida Mad Mudder, I think he was looking at
Tough
on
Mudder.
no, Tough Mudder. Yeah,
I'll be
that's
there
it.
for that one, and yeah,
Yeah, that's
we got a
November
team there.
9th. It, my wife's caretaker is going away the week of the 7th, so the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. So I don't think that's
Yeah.
possible for me to
If it
do.
doesn't
But
work, I mean, you got to take care of your family too. Your family's important.
yeah, November 16th is looking like there's one. And I think that's in like South Carolina. I think it's on the New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe.
There you go. Well, we'll have to find one. Well, I mean, between Nubs and Joey, we'll find one and we'll get you out there. And I mean,
Yeah,
you're gonna get
even if it's,
hooked, and you're gonna be, like the rest of us out there doing as many as we can get.
it was
Because
painful. I don't know.
I only do them with the team now. I only do them with the team. So
Yeah,
because
I
it's
couldn't do it. It's not for me. It wouldn't be safe.
yeah. I mean,
Safe without the
I've done a
team.
bunch of them by my, whatever. But I mean, for me, once I lost my love for it for Spartan, honestly. 2020 kind of, and I've talked to other people about this, where you lost the community in 2020, in 2021 because of, the COVID and
Yeah,
all that. So we
yeah,
lost the community just wasn't there. So it kind of took all of my joy and everything I loved about Spartan away from me. So I just kind of like,
crazy.
I'm done with that. So I started doing triathlons and a few other things. And then it was pretty much I did a race with the team last year. And all of a sudden I'm like, now I remember why I do this.
Yeah, now I'm
It's
back.
not about me. And that was what 2020, 21 was. There was no team, there was no helping anyone. I was just doing them by myself. And I'm like, eh.
Yeah,
But the second I have a team and I'm helping somebody and that feeling, here in Houston, we helped some people with cerebral palsy go through. And there was a gentleman, I mean, the look on their face when they got to finish something they never thought they'd be able to. And I'm like, that's why I'm here.
yeah.
This is what I do this for.
It's amazing. I was posting about my marathons and my stuff on Facebook, and a buddy of mine, he's a combat wounded vet, uh, paralyzed. Excuse me. And now he's also a double amputee because he amputated. Um, and he reached out to me and he said, and I met him through a nonprofit organization that he was a volunteer for, and he helped organize. And we did hog hunting out of a helicopter. We skydived. We did nighttime bow fishing. Weekend to Remember Warriors. So I met this gentleman, and we stayed in touch. And he's just awesome. He was working towards his pro bodybuilding before he got hurt and shot and paralyzed in the military. And he reached out to me, and he was not in a good place. He was like, dude, he's like, I'm not doing well. He's like, but I see you posting this. He's like, I dusted off my bike. I think I need to do a marathon with you to get me focused on something else than where I'm in right now. And I said, dude, you name it, done. I just raised 30 grand for Achilles. I said, they'll cover all your expenses. I'll get you on the book. What marathon you want to do? He's like, whatever one's coming up. And I was like, all right, cool. And I reached out to the people over at Achilles, and they were like, yep, he's in. Just give us his email address. Boom, here it is. Send him out, tell him to fill his paperwork. And he started training that day. And he was out training, and he's posting on those apps, like the track apps for the bike riding and stuff. And I started seeing his posts on Facebook, and I'm like, yo, buddy, I said, you got to slow down. I said, you're beating, you said you want to do a marathon together. I said, I can't keep up with your time. He goes, well, you need to start training. I said, I can't. I go, I got a bad shoulder. So I've been putting off shoulder surgery for about 10, 11 years now. I said, since the bombing, I never got this fixed because it was the last concern. Everything else is more concerning. And I said, if I train, I said, I'll be cooked. My arm I'll be in the hospital having surgery. And I said, but don't worry. I said, there are some amazing guys on our team, and you should just go for it. He became one of the top three. He might even been top five, definitely. He might have been one of the top three riders at the time when he came in. He was amazing. He was an animal, but it gave him something to look forward to, and it gave him community, and it gave him purpose. And like you said, that's it. We all need it. And I've learned it, and I've seen it, and I witness it over and over again. And it just keeps slapping me in the face. So,
and that's one of the things I've seen with it, doing other things with these groups and everything like that, where it's you lose hope, you lose kind of stuff like that, and then all of a sudden the community, and you're like, all of a sudden, want to click, or I'm not alone. There's other people going through this, and you can talk to people, and I think that's what I love about your app. You can talk to people who are going through the same thing you are, rather than, because it's one of those things I've kind of, you always put things towards something, like me as a safety professional. When I go out there and say, okay, this is what we're going to do to make you guys safe, and they're looking and going, what do you know? And I'm like, I've been in the field. I've done what you do. This is why I see it this way. They look at you differently when they're like, oh, you're one of us.
Yeah.
Rather than you're just somebody who has read a book.
Yeah, that came in.
And came walking in going, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you've never done this in real life. So that's when you get on the app and you're like, oh, here's another amputee who's been through what I've been through. And they can talk to me about the feelings that I'm having right now because they've had them.
Yep. I got asked about phantom pain. Do you have phantom pain? I said, yeah. What do you do? I said, we all do something different, right? You just got to try all these different things. He's like, well, I never thought of that. I never thought of this. No one told me about that. And, and I said, man, sometimes it's just accepting. It's accepting that that's the way it is. And just in your mind, when you truly accept, you can move forward, and I just, that's my answer to everything. And not everybody can do it, is I just accept my situation. My legs never. Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
No,
it's late. We're both ready for bed. I'm gonna be going to bed soon. It's been a long day today. Today's been a long, stressful day. I had a surprising visit. I had to take my dog to the vet. Yeah, I got some stuff going on with him, and it's just one challenge after another. But that's life, and you know it as well as I know it, just from doing all those Spartan races. Those Spartan races, I love it because it reminds me of life, right? Those challenges. Every day there's an obstacle. Every day there's an obstacle. And in that race, you're faced with 30, 20, 22, whatever it is. I think I did 20 obstacles in that 5.5 miles or whatever it was. And, that was life. It just keeps punching you, and it's another obstacle. But all you just got to do is keep going and just get through it. Accept that challenge and and overcome it.
And that's it. And that said, I mean, and I've used this now before, the same you did, where Spartan teaches us that they throw an obstacle in our path, and we don't just sit down and go, "Well, guess we're done." You look at it, you go, "Okay, how do I go up, over, through? How do I move past this obstacle and keep going?" And that is pretty much how most of us, I think, look at life now. It's like, okay, nope, another obstacle. How do I get over, past, through this obstacle? And one of my favorite things I tell everyone, my favorite saying, a good friend of mine, Jesse, says this all the time, always forward.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's just it, always forward.
My buddy during that race I did in Spartan in Austin, man, I'm telling you, I was hurting. He said, "You all right?" I said, "Nope." He's like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "One step at a time."
Yep.
I said, "If I just take one step at a time, like you said, going forward, eventually I'll get to that end." He said, "That's it." I said, he's like, "You want to be done?" I said, "No." I said,
Yeah.
"Literally, you will have to carry me off here on a stretcher. Like, that's the only way I'm leaving this field. Like, it's going to be one step in front of another until I can't walk no more." I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
"That's the only way." And that's my life. That's my motto in life. Like, of course we get tired.
Oh,
We
yeah.
want to give up. We want to quit. And we think about it. And then we do everything in our powers too, but then we push through, and it's
Yeah.
I saw Joe DeSantis, the founder of Spartan there, the
Mhm.
guy Joe, and I saw him on a podcast and he was talking about the thing he does with the kids and what it teaches them to have to, go through these like near death experience or challenges, like
Yeah.
physical, like near death, like almost like wiped out. But then what it teaches you, and I've always felt that way with the marathons. This is like what I learned in that pain, in that part where like you want to give up, but you don't, and you push through. Always that teaching, what that instills in your brain for your life and how you treat life and how you go in life and
Yeah.
what in business and what in work and anything what that relates to. And like I said, so what you can put forth, what you learned in that race, I
And like I said,
saw
I think
him.
it shows you that even when you think you're done, you're not.
You're not. Yeah, it just shows you
Mhm.
stop thinking.
Yeah.
Just
Stop
do it.
thinking.
Just
Because
do
that's
it.
what most of us do with those races. We hit a point where our brains is like, we're done. But your body's like, no, you're not. And you
Yeah,
just keep going.
it's the human body is absolutely phenomenal. Like
Oh, it is.
if you saw me laying in pieces on the ground and then you see me today, it's like how does a body physically bounce back from that? Like burnt, on fire, skin missing, blown apart, leg off, major brain injury, rattled this, rattled that, and then like my body just basically like came back together. Granted, with the doctors and all that stuff, but
Oh, yeah.
just shows you how strong like the body is. And then just over the years of the fog that I came out of from the medications that I were on that I weeded off, and then just who I am as a total different person, but back to the same person I was. It was just this obstacle in the road that I had to overcome.
Yeah.
It was, but I saw Joe talking about that, man, and I was like, dude, I need to talk to this guy. I was on his
Oh, yeah.
podcast just not too long ago. I don't know if he hit it yet, but um, I'm like, I get, we all, like you, me, Zach, Earl, the whole group, all the guys that you mentioned,
Yeah.
we all have that same process. We all have that same thought process, and it's
Just
like
keep
we've
going.
all learned, just keep going. This is it's crazy, but it's a blast. And yeah, man, I
I
mean, you're frozen.
throw him on my back like a backpack and get him over the finish line if I have to.
Truth, truth. I know. I've seen you guys do that. Like, I literally have seen you guys carry guys and do things. Who's a good friend of mine is the Panda, Nick
Panda.
Kocher. Nick Kocher. He's a double bilateral above the knee amputee. Nick
I've seen
Coach.
him. I haven't met him yet.
Yeah, yeah. So he's a buddy of mine. You should have him on. He'll come on the podcast. I'll connect you guys.
Oh, yeah, connect me
He's
up with him because I would love to talk to him. We've talked to a few people, and I mean, I love talking. I love hearing stories like these because it's one of those things that it's amazing to hear how resilient the human body is and the human, and then
frozen.
still do what you do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, your service kept freezing for a second. But
Connection issues.
yeah, he's phenomenal. The weather might be bad down there in Houston. I know where my wife is. It was pretty bad up there in Austin. It was raining yesterday, pretty bad.
Yeah, it's been we got a storm coming through, so every once in a while the internet gets kind of weird when we got a storm coming through.
But yeah, I'll definitely connect you with Nick. Nick's amazing. He's been a part of Spartan. He was an early part of Spartan, and well, more so Oscar Mike. So he used to do it with
Yep.
Oscar Mike. Yeah, he did it with Oscar Mike. So yeah, early on with them.
They're another great group.
Yeah. Yep. Like I said, Earl and Nick, those guys. I met Nick down at Walter Reed, and then I did a lot of races with Nick with Achilles, a lot of marathons. Nick was one of the top dot. Like he was a competitor on the hand cycle, like a competitor, big time.
Yeah.
He was a beast, literally beast. He's a beast. He's out of his mind.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. I'll connect you guys definitely because he's on this new tour. He's got some book stuff going on, and he's doing some speech thing, and he's actually working with drug addiction and mental health clinics. He has a whole program that he's implementing. He's phenomenal. He's a dad. He's football coach for his kids' football team. He's a soldier. He's amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on. Right on. Well, we're hitting about the hour mark where Don tries to keep me. If I get any more than an hour, he gets all whiny. But
yeah. No, I get it. I'm with you.
So, is there anything you want to tell the listeners in closing before we head out of here?
Yeah, just don't allow your mind to limit you to anything because everything is possible. And just keep moving forward, accept your situation, adapt, and overcome. That's it. That's what I think, that's my mindset. Support each other. And if you need help, find a community, find support, find somebody to help you because, everybody needs a shoulder. Even that person that you find to help you, you're probably helping them more than they're helping you, and you just don't know it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, check out the Marc Network. Check out the remarkablefoundation.com, marknetwork.world. It's a free app, MARC Network Inc. It's in Apple, it's in Google. Download it, create a profile. Make sure you add a profile picture. Sometimes when you do it initially, it doesn't always stick. So after your account's open up, you go into the app, click on your little white circle and add another picture again and make it stay, and post any information or just post about your family, post about your day, post about your life, post music you love, whatever.
All right, you got it. So thank you for coming on the show. Anytime you want to come back, let me know. I mean, you're welcome anytime. Anything you want to promote.
If you ever want to talk about a subject or anything, talk about Boston Red Sox or the Patriots.
I don't know if I want to talk about them.
How good they are.
I'm a Seahawk fan. And
that must have been a tough one.
It was a tough one. It's been a tough one. But my Texans jerseys just showed up today, so because
nice.
AFC, NFC, I can root for the Texans now that I live down here. Yeah. So, but I will never be an Astros fan because I'm a Mariner fan. So, and that's another. So, as you can tell, I'm used to disappointment.
Well, that's why you moved out of Washington and now you're down in Texas. You want to be a part of the winning team, right?
Well, yeah, the Houston Texans. Definitely not Dallas. Oh.
No, I'm right up near Dallas. I like, the Dallas. I've always been like a Dallas on the backside of fan with the Cowboys back in the day, the Michael Irvins, Emmitt Smith. I mean, I love
the 90s, maybe.
I loved Emmitt Smith. I loved Emmitt Smith. He was honestly probably the best. He was the best tailback to watch, and I didn't have anybody in the Patriots, so you had to have a second team. So why not be the Cowboys in the night? You know what I mean? Like,
see, that's what's funny is my second team in the 90s was the St. Louis Rams.
Okay.
Because at that time, a lot of people forget this, the Seattle Seahawks were an AFC West team, not NFC West. They were AFC. So
yeah, I never
Seattle and St. Louis was NFC. So I was a fan of them until all of a sudden the Seahawks went NFC. I'm like, well, I can't root for another, a rival team. So yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. But that was and it's just funny. I ended up right outside of Dallas now, and that was like my second team. And actually, I've played in a lot of celebrity games with like Michael Irving.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's crazy, but super nice. Like takes his time out to help veteran organizations. He donates his time. He shows
That's
up. He
awesome.
participates. He's hands on. He's talks to everybody. He's a smile on his face. But
I'll be in Dallas in October for the
oh,
Dallas Spartan.
what weekend's that?
The 19th, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna be up in Dallas for the celebrity softball game on October 5th.
We'll see. So it's like the next weekend.
Yeah, I'll be back in Austin. I'm probably back in Texas. I mean Boston, back in
Yeah.
Florida. Oh, no, that's the weekend of the Abilities Expo in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, there you go.
So I'll be at Fort Lauderdale.
Well, one of these days we'll hook up and we'll have to do a race together.
Yeah, if not, you're in Houston. It's only a couple hours away.
Yeah. We'll have
I
to
live
hook up
in
and
right outside Austin.
have some, lunch or coffee or something sometime. Yeah.
Definite.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. Perfect. We'll talk soon.
Definite. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye. You're gonna end the recording. You can stay on. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna end it. All right. Talk to you later.
Cool, buddy. Well, your first name said Mike.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, no, I never even. I'm looking, dude. All it says is BeastNet.
It
Neither
does.
one of y'all, and it doesn't say anything about like who's sending the emails that I saw. Hold on,
And that was at first I think I was putting my name and then I completely forgot because my nickname's Pretty Mike. So
yes, I
because
see
of the hair.
Pretty Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my nickname. Dingo, who used to be one of the Spartan like cadres for the Hurricane Heats, nicknamed me Pretty Mike like 10 years ago because I was just starting to grow my hair and I kept messing with it. And he's like, "Come on, Pretty Mike, let's go." And it just stuck. So
yeah, so I thought it was because I think maybe it was Nubs or somebody mentioned Pretty Mike or whatever.
yep, that's me.
Yeah. So I'm looking at these emails. I'm like, fucking no one's putting anybody's name. I'm like, who
And
am
I
I
kept
talking
forgetting.
to?
Yeah. So it was me. Most of those emails was me. So and then because Don usually does it, but his work right now is kicking his ass. So I've kind of been stepping in and helping him. So
Yeah, no, I get it, man. Trust me. Like I told my wife, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I can't, like, and again, I'm at that pivoting point in my life where I'm like doubting myself and questioning. I'm like, I'm traveling from Texas to Boston right now. I'm up here, and the day I get here, I come in at night. The next day, I'm in the hospital in Charlestown visiting a girl that's paralyzed. The next day, that's Wednesday, I come in Tuesday night. Wednesday, I'm at the hospital. Thursday, I'm driving to Lake Winnipesaukee, 2.5, 3 hours, actually 3 hours up to host an event, to be the MC, to be not the MC, but I was a keynote speaker for Granite State Adaptive Sports. Boom, boom, boom. Me and my son. Then we drive back all the way home, run around, do this, and and now I'm flying out on Thursday, fixing my son's motorcycle for him, his bike, his little scooter thing. I'm doing this, and then I'm waiting for parts to come in. I'm in between doing work. And now Thursday, I fly out to Arizona. I got the Abilities Expo in Arizona on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I leave Arizona at 11 o'clock at night to a red eye to land in New York at 8 a.m. Wait to check into a hotel at 3 to only be out of there by 5 to go to this Runway of Dreams celebrity game, celebrity Runway of Dreams, because I'm receiving an icon award, like with Amy Purdy and all these different famous like Paralympians and Dancing with the Stars and all these disability people that are like celebrities, and I'm just like me, and I'm receiving this award, and at the Runway of Dreams at Fashion Week in New York, and that's on. So I leave Arizona on the 8th. I land in New York on the 9th morning. I go to that event on Monday the 9th night. Tuesday on the 10th morning, I'm flying back to Texas, grabbing my wife. We're home for 2 days. I jump in the RV or my truck, one or the other, and we're going to drive back to Boston with the dogs and my wife to be home for my son's birthday and my birthday on September 19th. And then it's just
sounds like a lot.
yeah. And but I'm like, and then it's just, I do a couple of these podcasts, a month, and I do interviews, and then I got this trial starting, and then I got, the Mark Network I'm building. I got the Remarkable Foundation. I just got all the marathon paperwork, all stuff done in the last couple months, and now I got applications coming in. I'm like, I said, but there's starting to be a price to be paid here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain stuff isn't getting done to its fullest.
If you ever need help or you need anything from us, let us know. I mean, us here at the BeastNet will help you out and do whatever we can. So
I appreciate it, buddy. Well, Mike, You guys definitely likewise. Like I said, man, if you need a filler, you need a spot, you need an episode, um, just reach out, let me know. And like I said, man, I got a couple guys that would love to be, on your podcast
Yeah.
if you need features.
Oh, definitely.
Have you had Earl Granville on?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
So, and he'd be a great one to talk to. I know the name, but
yeah, he's a
it's
beast.
yeah. I don't know how. Dawn usually does all the scheduling because I mean I'll be honest, I got burnt out about 3 years ago and basically was gonna quit. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
done because I was the only one doing everything on the and Dawn kind of stepped in because I've known Dawn since preschool. We met in preschool. And he's like, how about I step in, I'll do all the back end stuff and you just record. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. So he
Yeah.
stepped in and kind of saved it. So he's been doing all the booking and everything like that. But I know right now he switched jobs not too long ago. And it's just been,
Yeah, you need to juggle. You need a balance. You
well, and
need to
it's
take some on, take
his
some off.
job's a lot more than he expected to be, and he worked way too many hours. So he's been kind of out of it. So I've stepped back in to help book stuff and do stuff. So I'm kind of like, okay, trying to get back into the researching and figuring out who to reach out to. But yeah, if you have a few people that we could reach out to, yes, me, help hook us up, and I'll definitely get them on.
Yeah. I'm gonna connect that tomorrow. I'm gonna connect
Okay.
you with Nick and I'll connect you with Earl. I'll make a strand with I'll just CC everybody. I'm like, hey, here
Oh,
you guys go. Boom, boom, boom. Talk, chat it up, figure it
that'll be
out.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know Nick is looking to promote some shit. And Earl's always down to do his thing. He's the fucking man. He's
Oh yeah.
awesome. He's a beast.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a blast. So yeah,
All right,
thank
bud.
you. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll connect you guys through that BeastNet email. Um, yeah, that's the best way to go, right? Through email.
Yeah, do the best, the be sending email.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All
Perfect.
right,
And then
bud.
yeah, we'll have to hook up and get like lunch or something one day.
Yeah. What did you need me to send you? Oh, so
Just the links. So that way, I mean, I'm sure Dawn can find them too. It's just a hyperlink so that we can put them all on the
yeah,
like
yeah.
your
I'll send
network,
you.
everything else, and just say that way anybody who's listening to the episode can just go into the notes and click them all and go to them.
Yeah, I'll do my markfucarile.com. I'll do the Mark Network World, and then I'll do the Remarkable,
Okay.
which needs to be all redone. I need a web designer. I need a friggin' ugh. I need a web architect that architects like graphic and web work. That's a WordPress to do my back end of everything. I just sent you the 3 hyperlinks. I
Okay.
didn't send my social, but
And I think Dawn might know somebody. So I'll reach
really,
out to him, see if he knows anybody who can do the web architect kind of stuff.
yeah. I'd like to get like an idea on price. So it's crazy. I mean, my budget's crazy right now. It's gone. I have a pitch deck that's phenomenal, and I have a team of guys behind me here in Boston. I got a lawyer, pro bono lawyer, that's working with me
Oh,
through
nice.
Rich May, but he's like on his shit. Like he does, like when you sell your business for $1 billion, he's the lawyer that drafts it all up, right? Like that's that guy. So he's on my team because his dad
Oh,
was a veteran amputee from Vietnam, like
oh
whatever, like
wow.
whatever World War II, or what I think it was World War II. His dad was from. So I got a PR guy that's been doing PR in Boston for 25, 30 years, so he's like, trying to organize. They're all on board. They know I have a pitch deck that, these 9 senior business executives that we pitched this all to and we worked and redid. And I mean, this app business is a legit $1 billion business. It's $1
Yeah.
billion, right? And it's going to be worth that once I'm done building it. But I need $1 million invested. I'm already 1.5 in time and money invested in myself, so I've already created it. I've already built it. I've already worked out all the programming and who I need and like what I need and how we're going to monetize and all this stuff. And my chief operating officer, he sold his data marketing business for $3 million back in 2012. And then he
Oh, wow.
got a non-compete from this customer that through the guy who bought it, through the company that bought it. And then he went and worked for them for a $500,000 a year salary, and then they sold that part they sold the business. He was just a part of that business. They sold that business, but he didn't own ownership in it because they didn't want him. That's
Yeah.
why they gave him a hefty salary. So he didn't, he had common shares and stuff. So then he came in and he's been working pro bono for me for a year as the chief operating officer. And like what we're going to do with the data and the marketing and all the unlimited possibilities with sponsorship advertisements, because it's advertising direct to a consumer in medical, right? You don't get that opportunity all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, because you can't market to people off of data that you buy or collect for medical needs. But if they join a group, or if they're all watching this disabled Paralympics, all these companies are advertising because they don't usually get to advertise to this community, So I have a pretty good thing. It's $1 trillion disposable income. It's global, 13 trillion globally. It's 1.8 billion people globally.
Wow.
I'm telling you, dude, this is a huge fucking untapped market. It's an unorganized market. Every disability is fighting individually. I'm trying to bring everybody together on the same platform, grow this thing. Like, it's a great business opportunity, and we have the team in play. We have the structure. We're not just people that want. I started this off wanting to help, right? That was my whole thing. But I'm like, it's gonna take money.
Yeah.
So is there money to be made here to help run this? And my real dream is about giving back into the community, and I mean in a friggin' life-changing way. And I mean in a type of way that, like, it's like you'll forever see these buildings and they'll never go away because I set them up right? And
That's what I do.
and yeah, that's the legacy I want to leave. And it's huge. But you know what, dude, if you can do it this big, you can do it this big. It's just, you just keep duplicating it, right? You want to make $100,000, sell 100 items at $1,000, right? Right. So
Exactly.
if you want to make $1 million, sell 1 million of them at $100. You know, I make 100 million. It's a simple process, and as long as the market's there, and I've done the research to know that the market's there, and it's a digital advertising, which is 2/3 of every company's budget. Every company, if you took all the marketing and budget spending and advertisement, 2/3 of it's on digital platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I created my own. I have that. You know what I mean? I have the ability to do that. So I'm looking for investors. I'm looking for, we're doing 50,000 all the way up, to $1 million. And that's the first convertible debt. Right. So it's like, we're taking it on as a $50,000 investment, and we're stopping at $500,000 is when we close. And then, but we're going to continue to raise another $500,000 in convertible debt. And that's what I think it's 2 years to the date of once we close at the $500,000. And then 2 years from that date is when we have to pay everybody back on that $500,000, or if we keep raising more money. So even say a year goes by and we raise another $500,000, that other people's $500,000's due at a percentage on that second year from when the $500,000 closed. And then they have an option because at that point is when we're going to go for another round of seed money, because we'll be able to have we'll be able to show, because we're pre-revenue. So after 2 years, we'll have our revenue, we'll have our hires, we'll have the people in play, we'll already know what we're selling, we'll have the community will be at 150 to 250,000 people, which could change in a week. I'm partnering with United Spinal Association of America. They're 60,000. I'm looking to partner with Easter Sales. I'm in negotiation with their national office for Easter Sales. We're working with a lot of different other just groups to partner with their, the Red Sox Foundation's getting behind me. They'll give me a day at Fenway to promote it. I'll get radio airplay. I'll get all that. I was on Pat McAfee just talking about it, like at Radio Row, being interviewed by him, which I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep going, and I'm not going to stop. And it's going to get so big. And everybody's family member, Adam Cush's family member, has cerebral palsy. He has CP, So,
and like I said, I mean, you need from us. I mean, we're
connections,
here.
Man. Any word of mouth, anybody just outside working, any corporation, any business that wants to do advertisement, sponsorship on a platform that's going to help people with disabilities. If your boss who owns this huge company, that puts the high rises together, and his kid has MS, CP, Parkinson's, spinal cord injury, amputation, connect me. Let me give him a pitch. Let me talk to him. Let me tell him what I'm building. Let me show him, like you show him the numbers. The numbers and the studies don't lie. Everything that we pulled has backing from the World Health Organization, or if it's from the state, if it's from the federal government, and it's from like other hospitals like Johns Hopkins and all the different places where we get all our research from and all our data and information. So yeah, man, any celebrity, anybody that has a good following, any other podcast you think of that I could promote what I'm doing, Like I said, any corporation, any business, physical therapist, occupational therapist, any companies, anybody you can think of, man, send them my way. It's like, hey, Mark, I met this person. I think you guys could talk,
Yeah, you got it. We can do that.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I need
You're
help.
welcome.
I can't.
Oh yeah.
I'm only one guy. No, I got a whole bunch of guys.
Oh yeah. But we'll help you out too. So yeah, and if I hear anybody, I'll let you know. So
Yeah, and let me know if you have something. I'll be like, hey, Mark, man, we're just doing this thing real quick here in Houston. You want to come down, dude? If I'm in Austin, I'll shoot down.
okay, you got it.
You know what I mean? Like, you're helping somebody out. Let me know, and if I can make it, I'll make it. If I can't, I'll just tell you I can't.
Yeah, no, that sounds great.
All right, Mike. Pretty
All
Mike.
right. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.